Okay, thank you for joining this live session. So right now we are at the end of unit 4, energy and momentum. And today our goal is to complete post-test review, okay? And then we'll work on around 11 problems from the post-test that are crucial. And then later, whenever you work on unit 4 post-test, you should be able to complete that post-test on your own. And as always, please feel free to message me, text me if you have any questions, okay? Now let's get started and then work on some of the problems related to some of the problems from unit 4 post-test. Let's work on this problem. At first, I'll read that problem, write formula, and then I'll give you some times to work on some of the problems. The question is a 25 Newton force, that is force, applied on an object moves its 50 meters displacement. The angle between the force and displacement is 40 degree. Angle is 40 degree, that is theta. Theta. Question is, what is the value of work being done an object? That means we have to calculate work. Okay. So work done is product of force, displacement, and cosine of the angle between force and displacement. In that way, we can calculate work. After that, let's substitute all those values. Force, displacement, and angle. Force is 25 Newton. Displacement is 50 meters. And cosine of 40 degree. And use calculator and calculate that value. You can use either Desmos, or any other online calculator, or if you have calculator in your phone, you can use that calculator. Then you will get around 960 joules. And that is 9.6 times 10 to the power 2 joules in scientific notation. So the correct choice for this problem is B, 9.6 times 10 to the power 2 joules. So that is one of the questions from your post-test from unit 4. Okay, I'll pause here for some time. If you have any question, please let me know. You can ask me the question in chat as well, okay? Or you can unmute, turn on your mic and ask me that question. Now let's go to the next question. And for your information, this class start at 3:30, okay? So I'll just start from 3:30. So please be on time so that it would be easier for all of us. So this question is, in which situation is maximum work considered to be done by a force? And then we do have different angle. So we know that work done is force times displacement times cosine of the angle between force and displacement. That means calculate cosine of those angle. Okay. And then cosine function varies from -1 to cosine, that is theta, +1. And for which angle the value is 1. Okay. Cosine of which of those angle is 1. Think about it, or use calculator and calculate cosine of 180 here. And calculate cosine of 90 for each of those. And then for which angle you got maximum value. In that case, the work done will be maximum. Okay, I'll give you some times to work on this problem. Okay, give you some times to work on this problem, and then we'll move to the next question. And then there there will not be any wrong or right answer, so please make sure to participate. Okay, I always encourage all of you to participate. Okay, let me cross that window and then answer this question. So cosine 180 degrees is -1. Similarly, you can 90 is 0. Similarly, you calculate all the values if you don't know on top of your head. And cosine 0 degree is 1. So and then maximum value of cosine is cosine of any angle is 1. And here we can see that cosine 0 degree is 1. So that means for the angle 0 degree, the angle if the angle between force and displacement is 0 degree, there is maximum work considered to be done by the force. Correct choice is E. Let's go to the next question. A student lifts a set of books off a table and places them in upper shelf of a bookcase which is 2 meters. If she applies a force of 5 newtons to lift these books, what is the work done? So here we can see that displacement is 2 meters, or you can think about height, same thing. And then work done, force is 5 newtons F. And then the direction between force and displacement is same. So that means angle between force and displacement is 0. So work done is simply force times displacement this times, because cosine of 0 is 1. And then 5 times 2 is your 10 joules. So the correct choice is D. 5 newtons times 2 newtons, that is 10 joules. Now let's go to the next question. This question is, which transformation of energy occurs in hydroelectric power plant? So think about how electricity is produced in hydroelectric power plant, sorry, okay? And then try to answer this question. Oops, sorry. So this is a wrong polling, okay, sorry. Let me launch the correct one. The post-test question, okay. And read all those different choices and then answer it. Okay, let me end polling. Thank you very much for the participation. Let me answer this question. The correct choice for this question is kinetic energy to electrical energy. So in hydroelectric power plant, they make a dam and then store huge amount of water at first. Okay, and then they use that water, and then they use, I would say, tunnel or pipe, and through which they move the water, and that water is used to rotate a turbine from where electrical energy is produced. That means when water runs, there is kinetic energy, and that kinetic energy, when it rotates the turbine, that kinetic energy converted to electrical energy. You can think in that way. So that means, and then you can see here potential energy. So in any of those cases, chemical energy is not associated in power plant, because if it was like battery, think about battery, okay, you use in your daily life, and then you use battery for any purpose. At that time, chemical energy is converted to another form of energy. So we don't have chemical energy. And last one is electrical energy to potential energy. This one is also wrong. Now let's go to the next question. The question is, an object is falling from a height of 7.5 meters. At what height will its velocity is 7 meters per second? So let me draw the diagram here. Let us suppose this is a ground, and then we do have object in the beginning at 7.5 meters. Okay, this is 7.5 meter. And then we have to calculate the height from the ground. Height from the ground, at which the velocity of the object is 7 meter per second. So that is the question. What do you think? How can we solve this problem? Think about in terms of conservation of energy or total mechanical energy. So we'll use the conservation of net mechanical energy. That means, let us suppose if it is point A, this is point B. Total mechanical energy at point A is equal to total mechanical energy in point B. And mechanical energy is kinetic plus potential energy. So let me write here kinetic energy plus potential energy. Let's calculate that. So at point A, before the object falls from that height, its velocity is 0. So kinetic energy is 0. And potential energy is mass, acceleration of gravity times height. Let's substitute that value. Mass we don't know. Let's write as it is. Acceleration of gravity is 9.8. And then height is 7.5. You don't have to calculate that value. Okay, leave it like that. Now at point B, again calculate kinetic energy plus potential energy. Kinetic energy is 1/2 mass times velocity square is 7 square plus mass times acceleration of gravity 9.8, and height we have to calculate. And they are equal to each other because total mechanical energy of the system is conserved. Let's write everything now. So you can calculate that value. Let me calculate real quick. 9.8. I always use Desmos, okay? 9.8 times 7.5. 9.8. 73.5. So it becomes 73.5 m. And the 7 square is your 49 divided by 2 is 24.5 m. 5 m plus 9.8 m times h. And they are equal to each other. Let's compare those. 24.5 m plus 9.8 mass times height is equal to 73.5 m. and you have m here. So you can divide both sides by m so that those m and m will get cancelled. So we have to calculate height. So subtract 24.5 on both sides and divide by 9.8, okay, on both sides. So h is 73.5 minus 24.5 divided by 9.8. And that is nearly equal to 5 meters. 5 meters. So the correct choice for this problem is at height 5 meters from the ground, the object will have velocity 7 meters per second. Correct choice is, let me check my answer. Yeah, D, 5 meters. I know this question is a little bit difficult. So I'll pause here for some times. If you have any question, please let me know. You can ask that question through chat as well, or just unmute and ask me, or you can unmute and ask me that question, okay? Or you can just give me a thumbs up if you understood this question and you think you can solve this problem. Thank you very much. Now let's work on this problem. The question is, the input work done on a machine is 9.63 times 10 to the power 3 joules. So input work is denoted as W for work, I for input. And output work is 3 times 10 to the power 3 joules, W or output work. What is the percentage efficiency of the machine? So if you remember, to calculate efficiency is the ratio of input work over output work. And then if you need our calculation in percentage, we have to multiply by that 100%. So efficiency, I'll write E. E for efficiency is output work over input work multiply by 100%. Let's substitute those values. Output work is 3 times 10 to the power 3. Input work is 9.63 times 10 to the power 3 multiply by 100%. 10 to the power 3, 10 to the power 3 got cancelled. So it becomes 300 over 9.63%. And use calculator and calculate that value, you'll get around 31.1%. So the correct choice is C. The efficiency of the machine is 31.1%. For this problem, we just use the definition of efficiency. Now let's move on. For this problem, we'll use the concept of power. Okay, power is rate of work done over a certain interval of time. Then we can, let me read that problem. A motor with a power is, we can denote power as P, power of 7 times 10 to the power 4 watts, lifts a loaded elevator to a height of 20 meters for 40 seconds. You can either write that height as H or let's write as displacement D for 40 second time T. What is the force exerted by the motor on the elevator? So we have to calculate the force exerted by the motor on the elevator. Force is equal to, and the question is 1. So let me write the formula and then I'll give you some times to work on this problem. Power is work done by time taken. Work done is force times displacement time cosine of the angle between force and displacement. But this times the angle is 0 degree because force and displacement is along the same direction. So the work done just becomes force times displacement over T. That is power. substitute all those values and calculate force. Okay, I'll give you some time. Okay, thank you for your response. I really appreciate it. Now let me work on this problem. So let's substitute all those values, okay? And then calculate force. So power is 7 times 10 to the power 4 watts. You can write unit at the end, okay? Force we have to calculate. Displacement is 20. Time is 40 seconds. 20 times 2. And then multiply to get rid of 2. Multiply both sides by 12. 2. 2 times 7 is 14. And then you can write 14 as 1.4 times 10. And then 10 times 10 to the power 4 is 10 to the power 5. So it becomes 1.4 times 10 to the power 5 newtons. And unit of force is newtons. So the correct choice for this problem is C, 1.4 times 10 to the power 5 newtons. Now let's work on the next problem. A car has a mass 1.2 times 10 to the power 3 kilograms mass and a momentum P 2 times 10 to the power 4 kilogram meter per second. What is the velocity of car? Velocity is what? Okay. If you remember, momentum is the product of mass and velocity. So P is equal to mass times velocity. Okay. Now substitute mass, substitute momentum and calculate velocity. I'll give you some time and answer through the poll. Please take your time and calculate it, okay? Let's not just randomly choose one of those options. Okay, thank you. The momentum is 2 times 10 to the power 4. Let me write that. 4. And then mass, we have to, sorry, it's given 1.2 times 10 to the power 3 and velocity as it is. Divide both sides by 1.2 times 10 to the power 3. Okay, that got cancelled. So velocity is that value. Use calculator and calculate that value. You'll get around 16.7 meters per second. That is the velocity of the car. So the correct choice is C. 16.7 meters per second. Now let's go to the next question. The question is, which statement explain the similarity between momentum and kinetic energy of an object? So kinetic, okay, let me write. Momentum is P is momentum mass times velocity, and kinetic energy is 1/2 mass times velocity square. That means you can see here, if mass increases, momentum as well as kinetic energy increases. If velocity increases, both momentum and kinetic energy increases. So based on those information, the correct choice is both momentum and kinetic energy increase as the mass and velocity increase. That is B. I'll pause here for some time. If you have any question, please let me know. And then you can also ask me question through chat. Now let's go to the next question then. This question I'll work by myself. Let me read that problem. Whenever I read, I write the information as well. Object A with a mass of 1.5 kilogram, mass of object A is moving with a velocity of 11.2 meters per second, velocity of object A in the positive x direction. It has perfectly elastic collision with a stationary object B. That means velocity of B is equal to 0. Stationary means it's not moving, its velocity is 0. And that has a mass of 4.5 kilograms. Mass of B 4.5 kilograms. After the collision, the object travels with a velocity 5.6 meter per second. Velocity of object B dash, that is after the collision, 5.6 meter per second. What is the final velocity for object A? Velocity of object A dash means after the collision what? So that is the question. To solve this problem, we'll use the conservation of momentum. That means total initial momentum is equal to total final momentum. Pi is your total initial momentum is equal to total final momentum, or I is momentum before the collision, Pi, Pf is momentum after the collision. So let's find total initial momentum is mass of object A, velocity of object A, and then mass of object B, velocity of object B before collision. Similarly, after collision, mass of object A, velocity of object A, mass of object B, velocity of object B after the collision. Now let's substitute those values and calculate final velocity of object A. MA is 1.5, BA is 11.2, MB, so did you see BB is equal to 0? So this whole quantity becomes 0. So I'll just write 0 here. MA is 1.5. BA dash is, we have to calculate, that is final velocity of object A. MB is 4.5 and then BB dash is 5.6. Now let's calculate that value, that is 16.8. 1.5 BA dash. 4.5 times 5.6 is 20.25.2 plus sign here. Now subtract both sides by 25.2 and divide by 1.5. Okay, so I'll write BA dash is equal to 16.8 minus 25.2 divided by 1.5. That is nearly equal to negative 5.6 meter per second. So the correct choice is D, negative 5.6 meter per second, and in the opposite direction. That negative sign means in the opposite direction. I know this question is little bit difficult, and then I just want to make sure that you have followed this from the beginning to the end. But if you have any question, I'll pause here for some time and then I'll answer your question. If you understood this question, please give me a thumbs up or any other reaction. Okay, thank you very much. Now let's go to the next question then. So the question is, object A has a mass 7.20 kilogram MA, and object B has a mass of 5.75 kilogram mass of object B. The two objects moves along a straight line toward each other with velocity of object A and then velocity of object B, 2 meters per second and negative 1.30 meter per second respectively. Those are the velocity of object A and object B. What is the total kinetic energy of the objects after the collision if the collision is perfectly elastic? If the collision is perfectly elastic, that means total kinetic energy after the collision is equal to total kinetic energy before the collision. Okay, so I'll write Ke kinetic energy, F for after the collision is total kinetic energy before the collision, and kinetic energy is 1/2 mass times velocity square, and we have to calculate kinetic energy of both object A and object B. 1/2 mass of object A, velocity of object A square. 1/2 mass of object B, velocity of object B square. After that, you just have to substitute all those values. Okay, mass of A, mass of B, and then velocity of object, and then let me see, mass of object B, velocity of object B, and then calculate that value. You will get around 19.3 joules. 19.3 joules. Yeah, I'll skip some of those algebras. Okay, you can just plug in those values and calculate final kinetic energy. Well, let me quickly write it. It's fine. 1/2 mass of A is 7.20, like that. VA square is 2 square is your 4. I'll just write 4 plus, and then 1/2 mass of B is 5.75. This time velocity is negative 1.30 square. Okay, and then use calculator and calculate that value. Let me write this one also just 2 square, and you will get around 19.3 joules. Now let's go to the next question. This question is long, but we only need few information from this question to solve this problem. Okay, let me read this question. A small puck with a mass of 0.10 kilogram. Small puck, I'll write mass ms, small puck, sliding in the positive x direction on an air table with an initial speed of 8.0 meter per second. The puck collides with a larger puck with initially at rest. So velocity of larger puck is 0. Mass of larger puck is 0.40 kilograms. After the collision, the smaller puck has a speed of 3.4 meters per second at an angle of positive 60 degree from the original path. The angle made by the larger puck is negative 35 degree. And the question is, what is the x momentum after the collision if the velocity of the larger puck after the collision is 1.5 meters per second? So did you see this question has so many information, but we don't have to use all those information. Okay, the question is, what is the x momentum after the collision? Momentum is always conserved. This is a two-dimensional collision. Momentum is conserved. That means x momentum after the collision is x momentum before the collision. You write that? X momentum after the collision. This one is exactly equal to x momentum before the collision. Okay. And then how do you calculate x momentum before the collision? That means to calculate momentum, we'll multiply mass and velocity for both small puck as well as a large puck and add those to each other. So that is mass of small puck is 0.10, velocity is 8.0 plus for larger puck, the collides with the larger puck with initially at rest means its velocity is 0, so mass times velocity is also 0. Okay, so its momentum is 0, and then it becomes 0.1 times 8 is 0.8 kilogram meters per second. So correct choice for this problem is A, that is 0.8 kilogram meters per second. I know this question is a little bit tricky. Pause here for some times. If you have any question, please let me know. If you understood this question, you can give me a thumbs up or any other reaction. Thank you. Now let's go to the another problem. And this is our last question, okay? Two vehicles collide and stick together. After collision, their combined Y momentum is 2.4 times 10 to the power 4 kilogram meters per second. Py, that is momentum along Y direction, is 2.4 times 10 to the power 4 kilogram meter per second. Their x momentum is 7 times 10 to the power 4, and that is the unit. All right, px. What is the angle of motion of the two vehicles with respect to the x-axis? So to calculate angle, so this question is like that. So let us suppose px is in this direction, py, and we have to calculate this angle. And this is a resultant momentum, okay? Or in this direction, there is a motion after the collision. So this py is also that part of the right angle triangle py, so that you can visualize from here. You can use tan of the angle that includes adjacent and opposite, and then that is tan of that angle theta is equal to opposite is py, adjacent is px. You can think in that way, or just think about py over px, okay? To calculate angle, you have to take tan inverse and then py over px. That would become tan inverse py is 2.40 times 10 to the power 4. Px is 7 times 10 to the power 4. That will get cancelled, and then after that use calculator and calculate tan inverse. This is 10, 2.4 over 7, and then you will get around 16.8 degree. And that is the angle of motion of the two vehicles with respect to x-axis. Correct choice is A. No, sorry. This is wrong. Give me 1 second. You will get around, erase that as well. Sorry. Around 18.9 degree, okay? 18.9 degree. So the correct choice is C. So today we went through the post-test review, and then we solved at least around 11, 12 questions from the post-test that were crucial. And then if you understood all those concepts, you can complete that post-test on your own. And then if you have any question at any time, please feel free to contact me, okay? Have a great day. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.